afternoon's gathering. I know everybody is very busy, and I really appreciate that you took the time to come here to share with the legislators and the community members. Thank you again. Right now we have Pam. You see there, she actually lives in Burnsville right now. She is running for state auditor this year. She was an ex-representative, I can't remember which year to which year, representing Burnsville district. And we also have Nathan, who is standing behind us. He is the campaign manager of Doc Wamo. Doc Wamo is running for Attorney General this year. Doc Wamo is not able to make it today, so Nathan is going to speak in his behalf. And I know other candidates are very busy, and they will come and go. And we have 9 honorable guests here today, but I know they're all very busy, so they will come for some time and then leave. I know Pam will need to leave after her speech. So, and thank you very much for taking time to share with the community. And I really want to thank our community members because of you, we could have this is our 4th community gathering. We had our API Day rally against data disaggregation at the state capitol. And then we had our community gathering in Woodbury on May 29th. And Yiqin, who organized that, really thank her for doing this during the first community gathering with Chuck. Chuck is over there. And they organized that Woodbury gathering. Thank you very much. And then we had our big United community gathering. The next 2 pictures, we had almost 200 people, so we couldn't fit people in one picture. We had to do 2 pictures. And then we got a lot of kids too. And that was like the effort of over 50 people. And it was very successful. I thank all of you, volunteers and organizers. And then we also had the Shoreview gathering. It was in the library of Shoreview. And Charlene and Lynn and some other volunteers, they organized that community gathering. And it was on July 26th. And then now we have our 4th gathering here for the south of Suburbs. And we will plan to have 2, one on the east side and one on the west side of 2-3 areas. But we end up having 4 community gatherings that really exceeded our goal. And I thank all the community members who support this, because without you, we couldn't have done it. Big thank you very much. And I want to thank all the people who are here, and also the people who are not be able to make it today, but they support all the different occasions, fighting data disaggregation, or organizing the community gatherings, or campaign for the candidates. It is an all good effort, and thank them also. And then, after this, we'll start our speech. The first speaker is Pam. She needs to leave early, so give this to her. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is just such a treat to me to be able to be here and to greet you. Thank you to thank you for coming to Burnsville if you're from far away. As Sifang said, thank you. This is my community, and I have lived here a total of about 40 years. There's been a couple times where I've left and then come back, but this is my home for sure. Thank you for accommodating my schedule by letting me speak first. That's very kind of you. My name is Pam Myhra, and I am running for Minnesota State Auditor. Someone asked me, well, what does the State Auditor do? Well, the State Auditor leads the office and sets the tone of the office. There's quite a few people in it. But we have oversight over how the government resources, your tax dollars, are used. And we want to make sure that there's accountability and transparency. In my background, I'm a certified public accountant with an active license. And I'm also a former audit manager at KPMG. It's the largest public accounting firm in the world. And so I'm an auditor running for the state auditor. I'm the only candidate in the race that has that background and experience. One of the things I saw as I served in the legislature, and I served with Representative Jim Newberger, what you'll be hearing from later today, and also Representative Tony Albright, and I didn't get the opportunity to serve with Representative Roz Peterson. I wish I had. That would have been wonderful, but she came in right as I was going out. But while I served, I learned something. Well, I learned quite a few things, but one of the things that was very important to me that I observed is that people really care how their tax dollars are being used. In 2012 and again in 2013, I chief authored a bill on government transparency, so taxpayers and parents could know how their tax dollars were being used. And both of those bills were unanimously passed in the House of Representatives. Unanimously, both parties, everyone agreed how important it was. And then the governor signed it. And so I really see that it doesn't really matter what party you're with. Taxpayers, we the people, we want to know how our tax dollars are used. I would very much appreciate your support. I have a website, it's pamforauditor.com. I think most of you received my business card. You're welcome to go to my website. Again, that's pamforauditor.com. Or I'd really appreciate if you'd follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and that is @PamForAuditor. Thank you so much. This is wonderful that you're having this event. It's great to see so many familiar faces that I've met before these different meetings, and it's wonderful to meet the new people too. You have a wonderful day.
I want to thank Yi also. She is the director of Chinese Social Service Center, and she is the one who initiated this meeting and organized this. So we want to give her a big round of applause. Thank you. So, you know, our community has a very big concern about data disaggregation law that was passed last year. And we've been fighting this with the legislators also. And Jeff, he is our community member, and he is a member of the Myhra, excuse me. And we organized the API Day rally against data distribution at the state council. And he's very active in organizing so many different community events. And he's also a member of the Libertarian Chinese Association board. And now I give this to Jiang, and he's going to talk about the history and the form of data distribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really feel honored and very appreciative to speak at this community event, because I know, though I'm standing here and talk, actually what I'm going to present and share are the results of tremendous efforts by many passionate volunteers in our community to keep our efforts against the ethnic data disaggregation out in our community. So I would really request the audience to give another round of a big applause to those volunteers that make their time and efforts for our cause. So when Sifang invited me to speak at this event, and she asked me, what the title I'm going to talk about, I give it some thought, and I chose "Decline to be Divided." I'm thinking because it's really empowering and energizing to say a big no aloud to something unfair and wrong in our state. Especially after being married for 21 years, getting used to say yes and okay to my wife. I think, I'm thinking this, saying big no loud for something right is very powerful. And I think, many married men would relate to that experience. But before I start, at the very beginning, I want to share something historical about our Chinese American community. The first Chinese family settled down in this state. Our family moved to the state in 1892. But actually, the first Asian record found in our state's history is a Chinese American whose name is Wang Xilin. At that time, an entrepreneur who decided to start his own business in the state. So we can feel very proud of our heritage in this state. And here are the two historical photos of the first Chinese American family living in Minnesota. Mei Xin and Mr. Wu. Okay, they got married in San Francisco and they decided to move to Minnesota in the year of 1892 and set up their family. Why they came to Minnesota? First from China to San Francisco, leaving the good weather and came to icy, snowy Minnesota. Okay. There's a historical and a political reason. Because back then, because of the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act, there are a lot of violence against the Chinese immigrants on the West Coast. Killings, violence. So they left the violence and discrimination and tried to find a good place to raise up a family in this state. And they found they have been welcomed here. So over 140 years, from the very first one to now, an estimated population of 38,000 or even 40,000, our Chinese American community have evolved a lot. There are a lot of changes already taking place because our community are now more diverse, much bigger, and now most of the community members are well-educated, working professionals in different, taking different roles in our society. But there's something unchanged, always unchanged. We came to Minnesota, we came to the States with the wish to work hard for a better life. And we always care about our kids, and we are willing to do anything to support them. And we believe we'd better rely on ourselves and our own efforts instead of relying on the government for better opportunities in our life. And that's probably the reason, as a first-generation immigrants, we choose to come to this state. So this photo just shows one of the dynamic Chinese American communities, just like this community in the southern suburb of the Twin Cities. As a minority community, we do have our concerns, and right now at this stage, our priority concern is about this very controversial, problematic ethnic data disaggregation. It became a law in the year of 2017, and now it required all public school districts to collect detailed ethnic information from minority students only. This does not sound right. And very fortunately, during the whole legislative process back in the year of 2016, Chinese American communities and many other minority communities were intentionally left out and ignored in the legislative process. So the legislators, they didn't have any opportunity or chance to hear about our concerns and our response to this very discriminatory legislation. So once an act, a bill, and then a law, this problematic law was signed into law by Governor Dayton in May 2017, and it will start officially start the implementation in this upcoming school year at 5 pilot school districts. So 3 of them are actually in the Twin Cities metro suburb area, including Minnetonka, St. Paul, and the community of Peace Academy in St. Paul, and 2 others are in the rural areas. And it requires every minority students to fill out, beyond the federal requirement of 7 racial and ethnic categories, fill out a more detailed ethnic information on the school enrollment form. So this upcoming school year, 5 school districts are required to implement this law, and the next year, statewide, every public school district in this state are required to implement this law. So every minority families are going to receive and face those forms, face those data collection forms next school year. So once we knew about this legislation, after it became law, we voiced our strong concerns to legislators, to school districts, to the Minnesota Department of Education, who is in charge of implementing this law, and we share our concern and why we believe it's wrong and it's discriminatory. And our goal is to repeal this law in the future years. Why this law is so wrong? There are several major reasons. Because it will create more divisions and discriminations against the minority students in every public school in Minnesota. By filling out this form, it's kind of like labeling a foreigner, kind of like permanently put a permanent label of foreigner on every minority students. And also, this law would bring more risks of racial and ethnic-based bullying and harassment into Minnesota schools. Right now, Asian American students already suffer the highest rate of classroom bullying and harassment based on racial and ethnicity. And with this new law, we believe it will bring more risks to minority students, especially Asian minority students, Asian American students. And right now, already at the very beginning of implementation stage, Minnesota Department of Education doesn't have any clear guidance or solutions to make sure the storage of those sensitive information and the data stay secure. So that will expose minority children to higher privacy risks if there's any instance of data leakage. Very last but not the least important, this law would waste millions of dollars of taxpayers' money before even achieving or providing any direct support to minority students who are in need of academic support. We would rather the money spent on collecting those unnecessary data to be spent and contribute to the teachers in the classroom who need the resources and support to help those students in need. So ever since the last summer, we learned about this law. Our community has started our own efforts to voice our concerns. One major event, mentioned by Sifang, is on April 12th, we organized a big rally, a big peaceful rally in front of the state capitol to voice our concerns. And many community members from different parts of the city to come to join us to be part of this big event. Yeah. Members of our community come to this event with a strong belief that, this law is wrong. And we are so passionate about voicing our concerns and stopping this law in our